yes, my prodigal children have returned to learn the art of clapping grown men's cheeks.
What's up, you frickin' juice lords? It's an absolute pleasure to have you back, and my spicy, sweet, thick buns can barely handle all the love and support this community puts out.
From the bottom of my uterus, thank you.
I don't have a uterus.
Alright, listen up, because class is in session and
Daddy ain't playing no games, baby.
today's topic is Taco Bell mild sauce level spice, and that's Oddball. Oddball is my absolute favorite mode in Halo Infinite, and no, Taco Bell mild sauce is not my favorite.
It's fire all the way, baby.
Oddball has experienced some changes and is now a best of 3 rounds with Infinite, allowing you the chance to mount an absurd comeback upon your oppressors. It takes mastery of positioning, slaying, and ball juking skills that are so disgusting your enemy might end up collapsing on the ground and calling for life alert, but all they will hear is
The sweet release of my BR.
Another big change in Oddball that a lot of people overlook is that the ball cannot one-shot people when you melee. Yes, the melee is fast and you can pull off, 2 quick melees if the enemy is kind of caught off by surprise or decides to melee you at the same time as you do, if they're within that range. However, this leads to my first tip. Tip number 1, drop the ball and fight, or at least rotate. Because the Oddball can't be used to bait people into melee kills consistently, your best bet
To obtain more alone time with your sweet baby ball.
is to drop it and fight with the team. Most people, even in high rank, will push me while I have the ball and just assume I won't drop ball to help my teammate. This leads to easy double kills, and
I gotta tell you, it happens all the goddamn time.
so just drop ball and fight. Also, just a mental thing, but every kill you get is securing you 6 to 8 seconds of less enemy pressure. Alright, so the drop the ball and shoot back tip was pretty straightforward, but now we get into this,
Spicy, weird, hot salami stuff.
which is rotating with the ball. This doesn't mean just running with it in your hand away from the enemy because they're right on you. People always rotate too late. Rotating with the ball to counter an enemy push can buy you 20 to 30 extra points if done correctly. Just like you juggle with the flag, you can also juggle the Spartan sex toy called the Oddball. Let's use one of the most common spots that everyone holds. You're on recharge and you have the ball elevator side. Your team is all with you, 1 control room, 2 turbine, and then you. You see the enemy team or know the enemy team is spawning near glass and long haul. Now you can obviously hang out for a bit and fight with your team, but eventually what happens is your boys in turbine get arrested by the IRS and are now dead in debt. Your other teammate Control is still alive, but just sending shots or maybe making some calls if he's got a brain. So here's what to do. If you're not going to drop the ball and fight with your boys turbine as they're dying, then you need to start rotating and juggling ball all the way to Control and through it toward Hydro. Your turbine boys should spawn there anyways. Now go under, grab repulsor, and if anyone rushes you, drop ball to your side and repulse them. I stopped 3 pushes last night in Oddball and my team literally hopped on the mic and said,
He might be the best carrier I've ever seen.
Afterwards we made love. In all seriousness, he did say that.
And we just didn't make love.
And I wasn't doing anything wild except rotating preemptively when I knew my team was losing fights. It's the funnest role to play, to be honest. Tip number 2, even in death, keep the ball away from the enemy team. You'll always hear people say, play the ball, dude, throw the ball. So setting up near ledges or high ground areas lets you even in death have the ball go flying off map or at least roll a mile away. It buys your team time to spawn and contest the ball again, whether it's respawning or out in the open. Another example is recharge. I know, I use recharge all the time, just get over it. You're in glass with the ball and the team is dying around you. Grenades are flying and they're about to pour in and sell you their latest internet package with outrageous prices, and they'll constantly bump up the monthly fee without telling you. Instead of dying, you can run out of glass and throw the ball into pit where camo spawns. Usually it'll roll close to repulsor spawn and buy your team time to contest in an open area where neither team gets a big advantage. It's a fairly short tip, but when you have the ball, always think, am I in a spot to play the ball if need be? Dying in pipes with the ball is a death sentence for you and your team, so just make sure you're forcing the enemy team to have to coordinate. Tip number 3, push enemy ball carrier as a team. Pushing an enemy team when they're protecting the ball can be pretty rough sometimes depending on where they are and what resources they have. I'm going to assume you're solo or duo queue as I tell you what to do, so kind of keep that in mind. If you are solo or duo and your team is dead, don't push the ball. You'll just die too. Instead, wait for the team to spawn or just let them know that you're waiting for them to spawn. Just hop on the mic. And even if they don't respond, you can still tail them into the engagement and at least feel somewhat like a coordinated team. Now, if you're separated from your team and they're spawning the opposite side of the map of you, then wait for the team to start the engagement and then flank. This is usually what happens in solo queue regardless, so use your team's blind engagements to your advantage to either flank, push together, or just get intel on enemy locations and resources they hold.
Alright, Juice. use, daddies.
I tried to keep this video straight to the point, and focusing on these 3 tips should win you more oddball games consistently and give you, if anything, a template of a playstyle for said game mode. If you have any tips, leave them below. I'll also be looking to cover another video on grenade mastery, which shouldn't be too long. It's a pretty short video considering, there's not like a billion grenades. There's just certain use cases for each. A spawn video, since I saw in the comments some people were talking about, trying to guess spawns and rotating around those, and possibly some weapon guides. The weapon guides would be fairly short since it'd be mostly around how long they take to break shield, head multipliers, and so on. We also have some of those up at Game Leap. I would just probably do a way shorter version because I don't feel the need to go like super far over on those. But I'd also love to cover stuff outside of guides in the future just because it's kind of refreshing. So I do have 2 videos in mind, one being a kind of a Halo lore video that I'd like to work on, and another being a love letter to Halo in general and kind of how it's molded me growing up.
Anyway, you saggy sacks, I gotta dip and go take care of my child before he poops his pants again.
So peace out and remember,
Wake me when you need me, boy.